So, yeah, the idea behind the space today was to talk a bit about like what's valuable to have in a DAO's homepage, and there were a few things that prompted this idea. One was some of the work we're doing with a Solana team called Top Ledger. They've helped us make a dashboard that shows different metrics that we think are important. And then the second thing that prompted this was all of that discussion around, hey, should we be hiding the NFTs um, on the homepage? That way, the one person's concern was it shows spammy NFTs and they don't want to be associated with the project. You really don't have control over what somebody can send to your address, and overhead to figure out like how to whitelist assets is just, I think, cumbersome. So yeah, that was the idea behind this theme for today. Um, Let me go ahead and see if I can share one of the tweets I have. Now I'm using two different devices right now, so let me see if I can figure this out. And then we can kind of go through what we've got there. But on the side of the NFT hiding, at least for Realms, I think the decision is to hide it.
Yeah, I think that was the conclusion that that's probably the easiest solution for now to avoid show those spammy NFTs on the homepage. But on the other hand, I kind of like them. I mean, not the spammy NFTs, but I like to see what NFTs DAOs have, and I like the fact that they're on the homepage. But if this is like too much to deal with, then yeah, let's hide it.
Yeah, I agree. It's never been like, from all of the things I could think of for us to prioritize, it was never the one that I was like, wow, this needs to be figured out. Oh, God, how do I do this now? I'm somehow a listener on this machine. How am I a listener right now? Oh, this stuff is so buggy. Oh, wait, I'm a listener over here. Okay. Now I'm a listener over here. Oh, but I have no idea how to do this. Okay, I'm going to try this hacky way to share it. Okay, copy that link. And then no, that changes the name. How do these guys do this stuff? You know what? I'll just DM it to you, bro. So, what we've got on this top ledger dashboard, because our primary focus is on um, citizens earning, what their earning potential is in the service DAO. We highlight, how much each member is making, how many members we have, how much revenue, how much we've paid out, where people are. And then further down, we have some top level things around uh, activity. Um, I think what's interesting is starting to look at different components that you can put in your homepage that matter the most to your DAO. So, for example, we would want to put how many new members voted um, this month, right? That would be something that would help us see from a very quick standpoint. Okay, this is we're growing, we're doing well on onboarding. I could see another DAO wanting to highlight who's been the most active voter, right? Like who's the most consistent or who's been putting up the most proposals. Um, so this is the kind of stuff I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I think it would make sense. We could have some, say, kind of widgets that DAO can choose from. Kind of, the same thing like you do on the phone, or on the short task that you have like a set of things that we can display. I think probably before we go through the like whole process of trying to create the whole framework to make it possible, we can just start with doing those widgets, and then see how, even if they are now displayed for everybody, we could see how people like them, and whether there's like an interest, and do a little bit experimentation. And if that, I think, catches up, and then yeah, we could make it possible to DAOs to customize this. We have some, like, to some extent, the customization logic on the hub side. So I don't know if this is we should do maybe for the hubs, or maybe on the grow DAOs. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I think definitely would.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure. Like some of these things should be DAO, like on the onus of the DAO itself. Like I really liked what Peroni was sharing before about like what they want to do with their NFT DAO, and they'd like to be able to um, have their own UI for their NFT DAO. So I like from a very high level, it's trying to figure out or discuss, what are those things that you need to see for like today in Realms. You get to quickly see all proposals, right? Like, and not all, but you see like the most recent ones. Always at the top are the ones that are active. At a glance, you can see your treasury. Um, and I think that those are all like very good um, discovery. Like I put those at like kind of the deep DAO level. Like if I'm perusing through DAOs, um, those are certain metrics that help me quickly assess certain things. Um, but you can't see from a very top level, or like easily you can't see activity, right? Like how many people are actually voting on things. I don't know if everybody wants to even show that, right? Some DAOs want to probably hide that. Um, yeah, it's there's a lot of information people can put. Uh, I would want us, like, because we're very proud of our activity, we would want to highlight how many unique people are voting every month.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But I think, again, we can just start with developing those widgets, and we do lots of hard coding in the UI in terms of configuration. So we could even conditionally enable this for the just the DAOs who wants to see it. So once we have the components, we can start showing this when it makes sense, or when DAO wants something like that. And then if we see there's enough traction, then we can then we can like make it like a self possible to do it your as a DAO yourself.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Um, yeah, I'm still trying to like ideate um, on what you would want to see. Um, I don't know, like for example, let's think about the yachting DAO for a second, right?
Hmm.
Um, it, we would want to know as a DAO, like if we're in it every day, it's maybe not. I'm trying to think of like it starts to become like what you want to see as like the missions, right? Like the state of tasks, if you will. Like that's how I'm thinking about it. Is like for yachting, that would be like, okay, what are we currently focusing on, and what's our progress there? But that's very different than how we kind of think about at least realms today, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, and probably that comes back to what we just discussed on the community call, that I think like different UIs dedicated for different DAO types is inevitable. And yeah, because it was like every DAO is going to have a different needs. And this is more like your, as you said, your homepage. This is how you want to be seen by the world. And then you said like, yeah, one DAO wants to be proud about how active is and the vote and participation, but others would like to highlight something else.
Yeah, and it becomes like I think I see realms and hub as great discovery mechanisms where somebody is looking to join a new DAO. Obviously, Realms is I don't use it as discovery. I use it specifically to interact with my DAOs. I use Hub more often as a discovery engine to see, okay, which proposals exist on some of the DAOs I'm a part of. What's going on with the DAOs that I'm following. Um, so I agree. It does fit in nicely with that discussion. Um, so because I'm a little bit, non-technically versed, the the discussion between the IDL and the SDK and the chicken and egg, which of those comes first?
I think the ideal, because the ideal from Anchor like become de facto the standard for any API. And this is why I think that that could be also like a proposal for the community to, if we are, because if you're not just talking about realms and the UI but also an SPL Go, that would make lots of sense. Because but the I will have to see, because the last time I checked it, it was not that straightforward, because there were some use cases that the ideal in the version at that time didn't support that we needed. And I will have to check if this is still the case, or maybe it was changed, or it will have to be changed in Anchor. But that this is the first thing that needs to be done, because once you have that, then I think it will be much easier for people to just jump into the SDK, because it would look familiar, because it would look like every SDK of any other program which is written in Anchor. And now with the discussion about interfaces and making like more standards, how the definition of the interface of the program is defined, that would even make more sense. And I think like the ideal, the like prominence, independent, like importance of the ideal is going to grow, and that feels like a no-brainer that we need it.
Okay, great. So I'll sync up also with Peroni to get an idea of because it sounded like he wanted to champion this to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that definitely. I think he didn't want to do anything on the contract side, because the idea that would be work which is needed on the contract side. It would have to be annotated and to support IDL. But he was like really offer his help to work on the TypeScript side of things and UI. So that's definitely we should reach out to him.
Okay, so he would. So this RFP would need to include um, some work on the smart contract side.
Yeah, but it can be separate. I think that if we just define the RFP as support ideal, this is like well defined and good scope for the work,
Okay,
and
I'm
everything will be
excited.
on top of that.
I'm excited because especially with like I'm looking at a line. We mentioned it earlier, and I think it's not at the place where you know uh, projects of the size of Mango would start using it. It's definitely not there, but I could see how they would love having this. That way, they could you know um, have a shortcut to adding more features, and in general it would be a really big adoption win, right? Like I could see a lot of DAOs spinning up and flourishing because they have that um, capability now.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I think this comes quite often when just people say that the UI and the options are just too complex and too difficult, and we need like simpler and more focused, I would say, like focused UIs to very specific use cases. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, I think the prerequisite for that is good API, because once you have the API, you can build on top of that. And then what he was proposing is like build what Peroni was proposing was to build like a scaffolding solution on top of the API. That will be great. So you can just take it and very quickly start with something for just for you. Yeah, that makes lots of sense to me.
Excellent, and really you've helped me rethink about this concept of like DAO homepages. It really is DAO specific.
It is.
There is no one size fits all. Everybody's going to need to choose their widgets.
That's I'm 100% sure it is like that, because and there's no way we can create something that would work for everybody. That's not possible, because every DAO is different and different. They have different objectives, different composition of the community. Even like the different voting powers is totally different, right? When you use NFTs, that I think is the most important thing to show you. Once you use like token based, it's a little bit different. And yeah, like you want to show like to the whole world how proud you are on your DAO, like the activity, and I think that's great, and we have to facilitate that.
Yeah, I'm also thinking maybe it's worth a content piece to just suggest different types of homepage construction based on different DAO types. Like I can see an NFT DAO wanting to show floor price and I don't know, recent listings or recent transactions. I can see there being value for them there. Um,
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so that might be a really cool project to do. By the way, also want to welcome Zentoshi in Wales. If anybody wants to come up on stage, just raise your hand. What we're ideating, what we're talking about is, what do DAOs need in their homepage? And I think we quickly discovered that there's going to be different DAOs and different use cases. Um, there are going to be some DAOs who are going to be, for example, proud of their activity. There's other DAOs that probably don't want to show that. There's going to be some DAOs that want to really focus on what's the work that's going on and what's the status of that work. There's going to be other DAOs that really want to focus on, I'm trying to think of like for Mango, for example, they probably would want to highlight um, fees. Like that's something me as a Mango DAO member, I'm curious to know, like how's the project going. um maybe from a high level, also be able to see the current team members or the people who are actively working on grants. Um, so, so yeah, I think that that would be a really cool piece of content to put out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there could also be a DAO health score connected to things that we've discussed with Sec 3. Uh, for example, like how far away is the market cap from the treasury side? And instead of, showing that, all you have to do is have a DAO health metric. Um, that way, everybody who's going to the homepage can know. It's not one of those internally discussed things. It's a holistic thing. Everybody knows that. Wow, we're healthy, or wow, we're about to have an issue. Let's discuss it. Um, yes, I'm really happy that Align came along now, because I think it's going to spark a lot of DAO discussion in Solana, and that's we've already got uh, great tooling. It's just getting more people to be able to use it easier. So it was very eye opening today to hear those comments. It
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely is the challenge to make it simple. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so it looks like we're pulling up to half an hour. As far as a theme, this might not have been one of the most interesting themes we've had since we started this discussion series. There's also the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, the Monkey DAO has their town hall. I don't know if it's still going on, um, but yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. This will have been one of our shorter discussions. It's also it's a good piece of feedback for me that maybe we can have some sort of vote or discussion around what should the theme for Friday be. I thought that this would be more accessible to discuss, but I guess this is very niche.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's. I guess we'll call it here. I want to thank the few people who joined. I know all of you, so I really appreciate that. And Sebastian, of course, it's always a pleasure for you and I to connect. We definitely have a lot of stuff to connect on over the next week. And I want to wish everybody a great Friday and weekend.
Thank you. Same from my side. Thank you guys for joining, and yeah, have a great weekend.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.